Hello everyone, welcome back. This is the Gen Z podcast. This is our season 2. We're going to tackle on the topic of toxic masculinity as well as toxic femininity. So on to our topic. So we start by maybe defining what is toxic masculinity and what is toxic femininity. So maybe if I can ask Diane, what do you think about toxic masculinity? What comes to mind?
So personally, I think men who tend to have behaviors that are overboard.
Okay. So, maybe, I don't know, maybe you can give us the understanding of toxic masculinity.
Mine, I feel like it's having a superiority mentality. Men having a superior mentality over women.
Oh, okay. Franco, what do you think of that?
For me, toxic masculinity is where like a man tries to act aggressively, super superior to a woman, and that is so much controlling and stuff.
Oh, yes. That's on toxic masculinity. I'm sure there are many definitions. There's the Google one, you can Google it, but it's all about opinion at the end of the day. So maybe you can just try and analyze what exactly is toxic masculinity. So maybe you can go through some examples and then maybe you judge, you give us your opinion. Is it toxic or it depends? Yeah. So maybe one we have here, suppressing of emotions. Men tend to suppress emotions. Is that something toxic? Inadepend iko tu sawa? Yes. So Michelle, I don't know. Is suppressing emotions toxic?
It's toxic, but
Okay.
I feel at the same time it's something understandable. Like I feel like inadepend na venye msa grow up. Like suppressing emotions inaanzanga na young age, kitu umetrainiwa into. Kama grow up ukiambiwa men don't cry, like huwezi lia, utaanza kujisuppress hivyo. So it's something toxic at the same time understandable.
Oh, okay. Diane, suppress emotions is toxic?
No, I feel like it's not toxic until someone makes it toxic.
Okay.
So, let's say I have a boyfriend. No, we're not saying I have. No, let's have a boyfriend. And then he doesn't know. Actually, kimpata, sema yako anajua to express his emotions, so he used to suppress it. So now, over time, amelearn kuwa vulnerable kwangu. Now that is not toxic. Purely, that is how amekuwa brought up and how the society views into the emotions when it comes to men. But when a man can't be vulnerable with the woman he is with, ama someone he feels safe with, when huyo mwanamke anamwambia like, you can tell me, oh, you can feel safe here, and he's like, no men, we don't do that, oh, and that is toxic.
Franco, unaonaje suppress emotions? Ni toxic?
It's not toxic. Okay, for me, if I'm suppressing my emotions or I'm avoiding telling you how I feel, it's not because I don't want to tell you actually how I feel or something. It's because like I will just assess the situation. If you are able to help me, I'll tell you. If you are unable to tell me, there's no need of sharing. Also, as for women, sometimes you find women, they'll use it against you later on. You can share something with a woman, then she will use it eventually as a weapon. So instead of regretting, why did I tell her about it, and I wasn't even helped, you decide now to keep it to yourself.
But
Another
don't you
thing,
think, Franco,
let me finish. Another thing, okay, for women feel better when they share their emotions with someone, like their fellow women or men. Men, we don't rely on emotional support. Like Mackenzie cannot come and tell me, bro, I feel lonely. He can't tell me that because I'm not able to help him. Yeah, you can proceed.
Okay, so I was kwa hiyo point yako ya ati we will use it against you guys. It is the same thing. Hata nyinyi tukishare emotions zetu, in one way or another you use it against us.
Okay, maybe I can give mine. Okay, kwa hiyo si same sana. True, but si same sana. Of course, naturally we know women are they tend to be more emotional. So we cannot judge you for just being emotional. But men wako deemed more rational. So we see a man mwenye ako too emotional, society wanamdeem maybe as weak, ama I don't know, like a crybaby, ama
But-
mama's boy. Utakuwa tu titles kila time unajiambia na wewe ni mwanaume. I believe as the man you need to offer in the family as the head, even to the children. They look up to you like the source of hope and strength. Unapata? There's no problem in being emotional or feeling emotions. That's why nasema don't deny your emotions. Una feel vibaya ni sawa. Where niko na issue ni as the man kila time una feel vibaya, unalialia hapo mbele ya watoto wako. I'm sorry, hata kuona ka hiyo pillar of strength. Jukao unalia na pia watoto wanalia, or there's a situation everyone is crying, unafaa offer you a source of strength. Watu wana look up to you. You are the one unafaa lead tupe njia. So ukianza kulia sasa tuna feel we are doomed. Kadadia analia yenyewe tuko pabaya. Unaona? But naelewa pia kuna exceptions, maybe umeenda tu habari wala lose hata wife wake. Unaweza kusema ati usilie ati watoto wako hapo. I'm sorry, it makes sense. Then you could deny emotions. But pia kuna balance. Don't be over emotional. You need to have emotional maturity and intelligence, whereby you know to control and manage emotions zako more than even as a leader, more than the people even you are leading in an organization, in any way, even in marriage. Hapo ndo mali mimi na stand on that.
I have a question.
Yeah.
I'm an addition, but it's another question. Can't you be vulnerable with your wife? Like,
Yeah.
as in, si lazima watoto wajue, si lazima watu wengine wajue that you can cry and you have emotions.
Yeah.
Maybe you're a very emotional person, but to other people, like outside when you're
Yeah,
not
that's
with your
an
girlfriend,
exception. Yeah.
that is because
Yeah.
I feel like that is the reason why women we are here. That is the reason why you guys get married. Why? That is the reason why you are looking for wives, and that's the reason why you need a girlfriend.
Yeah, naona kayo actually ni exception. Juu anasemanga men huku nje si ni magangster, but akiwa na demo wake
Yeah, come to me.
huko ndo anaenda
mama.
analia, unacheki.
Yeah.
Of which iko in-house, we manage our problems.
Yeah.
Ndio unaweza ona nikilia sawa, but huko nje wherever I am, after ushani suit umeni-comfort, natoka kaa warrior.
Yeah.
Unaona? But okay, hii inaweza kuwa exception. Kama ako sawa kufanya that, but bado kuna men watalia.
My man, you should
But pia
cry.
si ovyo.
I have a
Why?
question.
Si ovyo.
So, for me, actually, how would you feel like when your husband or your boyfriend, every time he has an issue, he comes, tells you, cries about it every time?
Utamwona
How do you like?
analia kuliko.
I think your value for him. There's a way, like,
Ako
Okay,
chona
obviously
dish.
haezi lia kila saa.
Eh.
Haezi lia kila saa, but obviously once in a while. Kuna vitu zenye hajakuwa akiniambia and then imekuwa ameipai. Sasa yenye imembother more ndio anakuja kuniambia hiyo pekee. Mind you ako na zingine zenye hajaniambia obviously. Si atalia hiyo time, but si atalia throughout. Pia kulia throughout hiyo nayo.
for me, I can share with you how I feel, my emotional experience, but without showing it. Like, I don't need to cry to tell
Bluntly,
you like
uko-
how I like, yeah.
Franco anakuambia sana nasikia vibaya na ni hivi na hivi na hivi. Una sapa?
I had a bad day like that. Not
Yeah,
coming
yeah,
like
yeah.
I'm crying, then you ask me, hey, what's up? I'm telling you I had a bad day like
Plus
Ndio
pia
nikusilie,
kuna
ati
expressions pia. Si lazima nilie nionyeshe emotions.
Yeah.
I can show you, I can be sad without crying. Si lazima nilie. Like there are many ways you can grieve, you can show sadness without crying.
But mimi naona pia men should allow us to show that we give you hugs, to cuddle you when you are not feeling it.
Yeah,
Hata si
that's
lazima
okay.
ulie. Like ujiachilie tu kidogo, tuko peke yetu.
Yeah, especially with even wamesema you are lover. But sasa unaona to the general society, sisi enda nikililia kila msichana.
Oh yeah.
Ndaonekana wewe ni mwanaume aina gani?
Weak.
Unaona? Especially from my men watanijudge na even women as well. Utakaa huyu, there's something wrong with you. Because women wanaendeanga men who are like more intelligent than them. Men who like wanaona someone they can look up to. You get? So even emotionally they expect you to be much more mature.
Exactly.
So kama unalia kumliko mko the same, ataona huyu hatuko huyu bado ako na levels, unaona. But for men, hasa tujali kama you are more emotional than us. If you are more, atuangalii hizo vitu zote. So hapo na maybe kuna. So maybe another example hapo to exhaust. Kuna violence as a source of solution, whereby toxic masculinity na promote the idea that violence is an acceptable way to solve conflicts. Dema akaanza kuleta nyef mingi, unampiga kofi anyamaze, ameanza kuongea mob. So what do you think of that? Is it something toxic ama ile dema anakuja hapo anakuambia nichape, nipige. Kwa hapo nipige. Hapo ukimpiga ameanza kuleta kilele mob. How do you think of that? Maybe Michelle.
I feel it's toxic. Violence is solution. Ataka like na feel ataka nimekuboaje. Violence is not the solution. Naona ni kama hiyo ni toxic, ni the most toxic thing.
Ama anakuja na kushika mashati ama you know, like they're just aggressive in a way yenye ama anakuvuruti usonge hivi. Like your violence, do you think it's something toxic ama ni wanaume Franco?
For me, okay, if it's provocative, it's not toxic, because you know there's some women like they don't want to understand like anything. They keep provoking you, as umesema nipige bas. But that will not be. If you beat the woman, a man it's like you're showing weakness. You cannot just beat a woman. It's true you can beat her. She knows it and she's provoking you. I think you can just walk away. So violence, it's kind of toxic in a way.
Yeah.
That is nonsense. It's not even nonsense. That is stupidity. What do you mean? Dema anakuja na. Okay, women were very emotional. We talk a lot. Hata inajulikana that we talk a lot more than men. The words that we talk in a day almost 2,000. So it doesn't make sense to me ati nakuja kwako, I'm expressing myself, alafu the way you solve it unanislap. Siwezi kuchapa, but that is nonsense. Mimi naonanga hiyo tu ni ujinga imejaa, and mtu anafaa tu atolewe na viboko. Unapiga huyo mwanaume na mshipi, because wanaume okay, men na baba zao when they were young wamezoea kuchapwa na mshipi. Obviously wanaogopa baba zao.
Okay.
Piga huyo kijana na mshipi. Ai.
So okay, for me naona like violence offer uchape mwanamke, because already physically the way we are made by God, we are more physical than you guys. Already it's an unfair match. Nikianza kupiga, of course ningeamua kupiga mimi ndakuchapa. Unaona, naweza hata kuua. Now where issue ina come in, I don't advise women to provoke pia men. You know very well mtu ako more physical than you. You know akikasirika amue akupige ngumi, utaumia mkienda inabaki. But uko hapo namwambia ni chapi. That man has emotions, unaendelea kupush buttons. For the man I'm advise walk away. But there are women who are very pressing pia naelewe, but haikupati pia right ya kumchapa. So far umchape. But pia kuna balance yenyewe, unapata kuna mademo anakuja au anataka kuchape, but yeye akishikwa it is an issue. Kama udai kuchapwa pia usichapane. Violence from both, nasema from both ends. Isikuwe wewe unachapanga kofi, but ile deo umechapa, you slapped me. Yes, you are slapped.
Kwanza mwanamke anachapa mwanaume wake.
How?
Lakini wanawake wanachapana huko nje.
Why?
But kumaanisha like mwanamke akikuchapa, you can also give her a taste of her own medicine.
Zi unaweza pata tu ni
like why are you violent in the
basi pia men wali sleep. That's where the argument itaenda, unaona. That's why katu ni violence more avoid.
But mimi naonanga mwanamke kuchapa a guy, especially in a relationship, that is disrespect. As a man, just walk away, because huyo mwanamke hakubali na respect at all. Nimewapea advice.
Na what of these women wenye love language zao wanataka aggressive men? Nilikuwa na watch mesabu ilikuwa inaitwa, I was watching some show whereby the woman alikuwa anasema I want a man mwenye mimi nikikosea ananichapa. Like anasema wewe ndio mwanaume unakuwa aggressive, nikifanya makosa unaniuliza nikaa as in I'm looking for a father. Na mimi babangu alikuwa ananichapa, nikifanya makosa, nikikam late, I'm accountable to them. Na hivyo ndio anataka over a man. So kama yuko hivyo, anasema you're not a man. What do you think of such? Ni kitu
Me, I feel it just depends on how wamekuwa raised. Maybe the mother alikuwa anatitiwa hivyo. Sasa yeye amegrow akijua that is love to them.
Okay.
Wanataka therapy.
Yeah. But say kitu normal.
Si normal.
Haifai, yeah? Okay.
Unless they enjoy it, but
Kuna wenye
it's
actually
not
wanaenjoy.
No,
they-
hiyo
like,
sasa
there are women who
mental
enjoy
issue,
that
yeah.
kind of dominance. Unacheki like ukiingia kwa nyumba you must order her around. Actually there are some women ukiwaacha hivyo usipokuja kuambia like do something they do nothing, and if you tell them do this they'll do it. There are some women who are not treated, so they find it. There are also women who find the beating attractive. Yeah. I don't know why.
happy for you.
I think ni trauma response to what they saw kitambo.
Yeah, the idea they have.
Of love.
But kind of messed up. Anyway, you know, to take to our next point or example, yeah, dominance na control, whereby a man wants to control everything. Unapata like venye tunaenda, venye tunafanya, hata zingine za kuambia hata venye uvae, unaona, anakuambia kesho ni hivi 1 2 3, like andakwa very dominating and very ni ana control kila kitu. So ukifanya anything without maybe informing him ama ye kupatia, you know, the go ahead, ni issue. Unapata as much as do something normal, but wanataka kwa dominating and controlling. What do you think of that? Is it something toxic? Sure.
It is toxic. Juu hapo ina give a controlling person. I feel personally hata tukidate hivi si wote tuko na individualities like mimi wewe, so na feel ukini control hiyo ni toxic.
Yeah.
I don't expect you like niambie nifanye hivi once in a while. Hata hakuna once in a while, like hakuna.
Okay, Diane.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't want a dominating man. Lakini si too much. As in dominant kwa
Over
mwanaume it
dominance.
is okay because hata kwa Biblia is the level of man. So I don't have any problem with that. But ikiwa too much to the point that you even control what I wear. Okay, sometimes I might wear something that is not pleasing to your eyes. Ama the occasion that you are going and maybe gonna elderly people na unaona there is something that might, you know, inaweza kasirisha wazee. It is okay for you to tell me, but it depends with how you tell me, how you approach it. Unaona? But your fact ya my love, tomorrow we are going here and it's okay. Dominate, you're the head of the family. But also consider me. Consider my opinion, consider what I think about it.
Do you think the man should have the final say?
Same in a situation, see in a relationship setting.
Yeah. Ama in a
Okay, mimi niko kwa
husband and
marriage.
wife. Seme in a husband and wife situation.
Same to make decisions, I feel like inafaa kwa both. Like ni wote mnakuja, unasikia perspective yangu, unasikia yako. Alafu sasa from hapo tunaona juu. I feel hata two people kuna mwenye ako na strength in something. Kama tuseme financially na feel uko better than mimi. Tuseme hapo nitakuachia make the final say uko. But at least we include here.
Okay. Franco.
For me, it's, as a man, you must be dominant. Dominance, there's no problem with dominating your woman. She's your woman. You cannot have a woman who you cannot control. Like, if you see, in most relationships, people who cannot control their girlfriends or their wives, they have arrogant girlfriends, overreactive, they cannot be controlled. So I can say, you can dominate a woman and also control her, but not over control her.
Yeah.
You can regulate her, because if you cannot control a woman, she knows there's nothing you can do, so you don't dominate her. You're not better than her. She has options. So such kind of a woman is a woman who cannot be dominated, and you can't keep her. So for
Makes
me,
sense.
dominance is not toxic.
Yeah, I
Controlling
believe.
is toxic.
Over controlling is toxic.
Yeah, I think too much of everything is poisonous. So I believe men should be the head of the family, for instance in a marriage setup but pia kuna ile yenye unaanza take advantage or you overdo, but at the same time anafaa apatiwe the place of. So me personally I believe the man in a marriage setup should have the final say, but not as a dictatorship. Like tuliconsole, tuliongea and everything. Now in the end nikasema sawa, twende hivyo. Na if at all in a marriage setup, a man and a woman, we are thinking of something. Tunasema maybe color ikue blue ama ikue pink. Yeah, maybe tuseme sitting room. Na tumeshindwa kuagree. In the end of the day, kinye the head of the family amesema ndio itaenda. In my opinion. Because yeye ndio head. In my opinion. But kuna zenye sasa zinakuwa foolish whereby or controlled in a way. Ni kama mwanaume anakuambia chukua kisu jikate hapa. Unasema you are at the end of the head of the family na unajiham, unaona? Ama anakuja anakupiga na unasema end of the head. Like I think sayo ni ujinga, hiyo ni stupidity, unaona? But kuna zile zenye like they are not harmful or they are debates or it's something you won't die if it's done. I believe there in any organization, I don't believe in 50-50 personally. I don't believe there can be two at co-chairs ama two co-heads, mtagongana. Either you lead or I lead. Tuchague tu. Otherwise we'll never get a clear direction what we want to do.
Iko na example.
Yes.
Tuseme for example, tunataka tuseme sisi wa okay, the two of us.
Yeah.
Tuko na idea ya kufanya business, ndio tuseme ku start a business. Alafu sisi wote let's say tumekuwa married for like 3 years. So financially, alafu tumepata jobs tuseme around the same time.
Yeah.
So the man is thinking of tuanze business sahi, the woman akozileza acha kwanza tu save nini hivyo. So alafu the man anasema like tuanze okay chazi hivyo tuseme kubaya car. The man anataka kubaya car, the woman akubado to save to start a business. Alafu sasa ikigrow kubaya car. So nani akona finance hapo?
Okay, in my view, nafaa nisikie like in wisdom, mwanaume nafaa asikie bibi yake. Na pia akae chini, asiangalie tu I'm the man and I can't be wrong. You can be wrong. Unaona? Kaa chini seke anasema evaluate pros and cons, angalia pia yako pros and cons. Kako na akili, in the end of the day ataona. But despite whether kona akili or not, the man bado ndio kwa the final say. Hiyo ndio point yangu. So maybe tu upate mwanaume sasa ajui ku understand na anaenda hapa na make. That's why if you have a foolish leader, nikasa iprezo akiamua kufanya foolish regulations ama parliament ipite, it's not about that we submit to them or not. They're in the head. We'll end up suffering. That's why naambianga choose wisely who you marry, because kind of head, make sure you're compatible, thinking yake mnaelewana. In the end of the day yeye ndo akona the final say. Yeye ndo atasema sawa tume debate kila kitu, but in the end as the head, otherwise is not the head. That is control in my view. Sijui maybe Diane.
I agree. How I've been raised, I have seen my parents debate about things and then it is my dad to conclude. So me, I don't have an issue with that. I believe it is the man who has a final say. As long as I'm included and you're hearing me out, I am hard.
Yeah, I think ikiwa over ama toxic ndio kitu mbaya. Labda yenyewe wewe yako ndio right, but juu ya ego yangu, I want to show you like always defy yangu. Yeah, that's wrong, unaona. Nafaa tukae chini to decide afu niseme sawa. Like the man will pay your approval. Twende hivyo, twende na yako. That's my point. Anyway, yeah. So another maybe a scenario would be dismissal of femininity. This is whereby toxic masculinity devalues traits associated with femininity kama compassion, empathy, vitu kama hizo. Like akiona dem ako emotional ama actually okay, jasema actually kwa madem, I think ni both people ikiona watu maybe wako empathetic ama wanakwambia ni nini unambembeleza, unaona, ama akiona mtoto kwa hapo amekosa uosheka baba nini, nasema wachana na yeye, ama maybe anaambia mtoto wake enda nje, anamfungia nje, utalala ndani, like hakuna hizo mambo za empathy like kwa masculinity, or rather hapa imesema example ka toxic, like hiyo kutoshow empathy inaonekana ni something devalued. Is it toxic ama ni wanaume tu? Franco.
For me, you cannot devalue a woman's emotional being or something. Women are emotional beings. Women are surrounded by emotions. They act how they feel. They decide according how they feel. So your work as a man, you should embrace it. If you should embrace it if your woman feels emotionally down, you should not discard her and tell her go sit somewhere. You must be there, comfort her. That's your role as a man, to provide emotional support to her. So it's not toxic. Discarding it is toxic for me.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Toxic. Juu mimi napenda watoto. I am very kama vile amesema women we are very emotional. Kwanza mimi so nikifanya something that is a bit emotional kuniambia achana naye, it's over.
Okay. Not in regards to agree that towards maybe you are a girl or a woman, unafaa u accept empathy and everything. But nasa maybe in regards to maybe mtoto wake, sema mimi am a father and I have a son, napata. Wewe utaki ni mchape, mimi nataka kumchapa.
Si mchape tu. Okay, kama amefanya makosa that is.
But tunaonanga wa mama wengi, achana na yeye, achana na mtoto wangu.
Okay, so unajua women tuko tu hivyo. Lakini be strong with it, because sisi tunaona zile za umejam, si toxic. But ukioverdo mpaka mtoto analala nje, hiyo ni toxic. Hiyo sasa you are losing me and your son.
For a child it's not toxic, because come to here amefanya kitu, it's just correcting him.
Lakini asiende overboard penye ati utalala nje
hadi stop kulia.
Wanafunza kwa mwanaume.
Sasa unaona wewe ni toxic.
Okay, dem kidogo. Mwanaume baba hizi mnafanya nani nje?
Father their daughters. Kuna wenye wanaweza but
as in dem, unachapa mtoto wako dem hadi unamwambia nani. Unaona? Lakini kani boy ati that's my son. That is very toxic. Mchape tu, piga hiyo tabia, lakini tabia isilali hivyo.
Okay. Michelle, what do you think?
I feel ina go back to how someone was raised kitambo. So hiyo ni toxic, hiyo situation yenye una hiyo pacha emotions like una dismiss ama compassion, how compassionate again inatoka na kitambo. So ni something yenye mtu anafaa learn. So it's not ni toxic, but sasa ni something yenye mtu anafaa learn.
Na like between men and men, like for instance maybe tuna watch movie alafu kitu emotional ika happen, afu boys wangu Franco ako hapa anaanza kulia, niambia Franco unalia nini? Hiyo ni toxic.
Ni toxic, ni weird unalia.
Why are you crying? Why are you emotional? Why are you being a woman? Because emotion is for women.
Nikiambia hivyo je, tunawatch na dem movie hapa kaanza pia unamwambia unalia nini? Hiyo ni toxic.
Juu yani huja understand that women are very emotional.
But pia mimi understand we are rational. Mimi nashangaa this is a fantasy you are watching on a TV and you are crying hapo nakwambia like.
Lakini sisi tuna visualize.
Uko serious unalia hapo uko serious.
Sisi tuna visualize. Aki he was hit by
affecting her emotionally.
Yeah.
So see toxic for you kulia. So is it toxic for me to not see isi kitu ya kulia?
No, it's not toxic.
So
you have to understand.
For you it's logical actually.
We are different people. So it's not toxic.
Okay.
But unafaa ukumbuke that you are dealing with a woman, not your fellow man.
Mbona usikumbuke you are dealing with a man?
Sisi hatuwezi, kwani sisi tunawaambianga aje?
So unza feel juu. Okay, mimi I think ukianza kumwambia asilie hiyo ni wrong but mimi kuwa na hiyo thinking ya hisi kitu ya kulia, I don't think that is toxic. Because mimi sioni kani kitu ya kulia in my view.
But usiambie odemi. But usiambie dem ati
mwambie ina another way.
Like
una ile imetoka tu.
Muulize tu like
Why are you
part
crying?
gani ndio
Hata usiulize why you crying.
Mm.
Just find a way, a sweeter way. Isitoke rudely. Umeona?
But
But
naweza
sasa
sema.
atisa Michelle niko na wewe. Unajua mimi na Michelle tukiambiana ati mbona alia, hiyo ni kitu ya kulilia. It's different. It's
You
very
can also ignore.
juu tunaelewana. Una get tunaelewana.
Tunaona bwana.
Lakini sasa mzee wangu anakuja kuniambia ati tunawatch movie alafu nalia. Baada ya niambia oh my love I'm so sorry.
My love.
Ako ni nini unalia?
Nataka grow, master hizo
Ni
Ni
emotions.
kazi yake ya
Kuwa
kuwa
strong.
kwanza anafaa understand uko na emotions
Bana, like I'm very emotional.
Imagine ako hapo analia hadi mama Kamasi ako hapo.
Yeah,
Umembembeleza bado ako hapo
1
analia.
Corinthians 13 love is patient.
Unaweka
Love
movie
is
ingine ndio tena
kind.
analia uko
Be
like.
patient
Actually,
with
that
me.
was the
Be patient with
solution
my
to change the
emotions.
movie.
Just change the
Muulize-
watch movie basi.
muulize kaa ako sawa, kuna kitu imetrigger kwa hii movie.
Unaweza pata hata labda ulimkosea last week. Alafu huyo the
Okay, hizo ni different.
actors na actresses wamefanya the same thing. Hapo
Yeah.
so we can even break up.
Ama ni hormones.
Sometimes tuko tu na hiyo phases. Unasikia tu kulia. Yaani hata ufanyiwe hivi.
Ama anaanza kusema mbona ulina mimi ama usympathize na mimi. But nikifanya itakuwa
You can sympathize but don't you can't cry like usilie ati unang'ang'ana kutafuta machozi. You can sympathize, just hold her. It's not going to leave you.
Lakini
Kuna wenye they've gone through a lot. For real. Na wakiona watu wana go through that in a movie, ina bring back the memories. Some kind of
Okay.
emotion.
so maybe we can also look kuna sexual entitlement whereby men feel they are entitled sexually in terms of who promotes the idea that men are entitled to sex and that women's bodies exist for male pleasure, leading to sexual maybe harassment ama rape ama kitu kama hiyo. Is it something toxic whereby a man feels they're entitled to sex? Maybe if I'm in a relationship with you, seme mimi ni boyfriend wako, yeah, so nikikam kwako like lazima unipe sex otherwise and when I want it I get it. Yeah, hiyo ni kitu toxic.
Very.
Ni toxic.
Yeah.
Franco ni toxic.
Okay,
Sema yes or
at
no.
some point, still, like for me, I cannot say it's toxic or not toxic. There's some point where you need to understand, like she's not in the mood, maybe, but not that you're not giving me sex like for 1 month, 2 months. You know, I cannot sit back and say, okay, I am not entitled. You see, so if she exceeds it, it's bad. But if it's reasonable, it's okay. So I can't really judge if it's toxic or
Toxic.
Toxic.
Toxic. Cause unanionaje tu kama object ya hiyo vitu, hata sitaki kusema jina. No.
Not object, like seme you're my wife.
Okay, kama ni wife it's okay. Lakini
So,
if we are dating,
no, kama wewe ni wife
Tumia
wangu,
wife.
like kukua sexual entitlement whereby I feel like nikitaka sex I get it. Hiyo ndio tunamaanisha.
that is toxic because
Hiyo
it's
ni
a
toxic.
two-way thing. No, it's a two-way thing. Si ati ukisema tu Dian now mimi. Dian.
Can I ask a question, Diane? Let's say like your husband, let me say your husband,
Yeah.
okay? He wants sex
He's watching.
and you're not in the mood or you don't want to. Is it okay for him to seek somewhere else? Because
No,
you're not providing him
hiyo
whatever he
time
needs.
pekee.
Whatever
Hiyo
he
time
needs.
pekee. Hata yeye kuna siku hatakuwa anataka na mimi.
Na
pia
wote
nataka.
of our madem mwenye anakuweka imekuwa 2 months, 3 months.
Hiyo sasa they have a problem.
Anakwambia
But
I'm
lakini
not in
isikuwe
the
ni
mood
kama-
at the moment.
Isikuwe ni kama ati now when you wake up you want it to go to job. Oh, as in na unaniforce.
So I cannot ask.
Cause kuna time yenye we will have our periodic tables and we won't want it and you won't force us to have sex
Okay.
with you when you're having our period. That's
That's-
disgusting.
Okay, Michelle.
I feel it's toxic. Alafu hiyo point ya Franco ya like kwenda 2 months 2 years pia on the side of the woman, hiyo pia like sidhani inafaa kwenda that much. Juu mko married, mnafaa tuseme isiende sana like tuseme 3 years. 3 years
We are talking weeks.
Kama wiki mtu ashaanza kujump.
Acha tuseme basi months. Hiyo ni toxic kumforce the woman.
Okay. Mimi na feel
No, tuko na time.
Okay, let me ask. Instead of him like forcing you or asking you, what should he do?
Talk about it. Like, obviously, I can bring up the act.
imagine nimekam home like nakwambia me I really na feel I'm feeling hot. Unaona, I'm feeling hot and yeah, babe.
Cold shower.
Unaona. So unaona ukido hivyo of course nakuwa disappointed. Yeah, na sasa kusema ndio okay, so those are some of the reasons. I'm not talking about in a Christian understanding, just in the world can lead to infidelity. Mseo dia alikuwa very hot but tukakataa kama. So I think kuna balance. Haifai kuwa whereby una control msee. Hivyo tu vile unasema nikiamka asubuhi nitoka job ni nini, you get. But at the same time I believe kuna ile place yenyewe na it goes for both. Kuna ile time yenye una feel yenyewe msee ako sexually deprived na anataka sexual gratification. I believe hata kama tu ni just to compare gratification, just help the man. The same way kama ni wife wake, I believe pia come through. Juu hata biblically inasema like the man's body is the wife's na pia like the female's body ni yangu. So I think nafaa ni avail body yake kwake na pia unafaa una get like vice versa. Unasema you are one. Unapata na pia naelewa kuna watu wenye maybe female, sema kuna females wenye wana maybe sex drives wenye hazipelekani. Unaona? But some man anataka lakini wewe you know so hapo naelewa, hapo itabidi tu sasa sijui mfanye but itabidi mcompromise. Huyu itabidi akwe deprived kidogo but pia itabidi utume kidogo. Na pia kuna also female a different. Amana anaweza kama anataka sex, mama anataka sex right immediately ndio kazi. But for a woman I believe they have to be prepared emotionally as well. Wanasemanga sex hayanzi kwa bed. Ni kitu like you imeanza in the morning, ilianza asubuhi. Hata ulianzia breakfast with bed, you know, text, you know, like ulianza kwa jikoni, like the way you've been interacting. Unaona?
Yeah.
Inakuwa prepared. That's how it is for women. The way I've understood them. But for men, hahitaji preparation mingi hivyo.
One thing.
If they feel like it, hahitaji tukiongea tu for men it's a bit different because pia tunaenda with what we see. Provided umemuintice ukuja hapo, you know, the dressing, the environment tu venye unaiweka and everything, it can be up for it. Also the last one maybe peer pressure and conformity, whereby men feel pressure to conform to toxic masculine behaviors and attitudes in order to fit in or be accepted by their peers. Unaona? So we have to kama hizo suppress emotions, kutokulia. Lazima nifanye vitu zingine. Unaambia mtu wewe ni mwanaume bana. Nacheki mwanaume atulii. Hiyo ni kitu mwanaume anaweza shindwa nayo kweli. Unaona? So you feel you have to do something ndio uonyeshe watu, prove you are a man. You get? So hiyo ni kitu toxic kama maybe unachukua loan uonyeshe watu I can provide. Unaona? Ama unafanya you just do something ndio uonyeshe wase, especially to your fellow peer men, I can do it. Hiyo ni kitu toxic.
Because work with what you have. You don't have to use them just because men were supposed to do. Especially if when it comes to providing, if your woman understands that you don't have that at that point, then you don't have to acha sasa niende nichukue loan ya 1 million na unajua salary yako ni 10,000. hamtakuwa mnakula anything for the next 3 years. Mtakuwa mnaumia just because you want to do something. If you don't have it, work with what you have.
Okay.
So it's a bit toxic.
Michelle?
Nagree na Dian. Juu hiyo like inaleta people pleasing to your peers. Nothing tu unafaa tumekujia accept kuona ni nini. Alafu plus kama unafika kututaka kujionyesha kwa your peers like mbona
Find another friend. Find other friends, I mean.
And
do your friends wana
by fellow men. Yeah, again respect, yeah.
It's not a must. It takes a process. It's a journey. If you don't have it, work for it. Later on you'll be respected. You don't have to be respected now with something that umeomba ama you're just doing it for the show, and then later on you lose the respect. Build the respect.
plus not everyone has to respect you. See your wife ni yake inatosha.
Franco.
Wanaume
For
wa
me, it's
agree.
not toxic. As a man, you must fulfill what society demands of you.
Hey,
Well,
Franco.
If you need that 1 million so that you can live a better life, go get it. Because if I don't get that loan and treat you well, or maybe build a nice house or buy a nice car, I'll lose nothing. I'll lose nothing. I'll lose nothing if I
Yeah,
get that
Moon,
loan.
you are in safe hands.
Yes. So for me, it's not toxic because you're just trying to meet the standards of the society. For example, it can be very difficult to exist in a society that you are different from everyone else. Okay? So for me, it's not toxic. It's not bad to be like every other person or to be like your friends.
Okay. Me I think nagree na nyi wote. Nagree na nyi wote. Ni unaweza pata kuna vitu meno wanakushia si toxic. Wenyewe mwanaume ako na umama. So weza kusema ati since my wife ameni accept na mama yangu ati sasa I'm sorry, as in hiyo tu you're acting like a girl, unaona, and you are a man. There's a way men need to act. Hauna masculinity. But kuna hiyo yenye since si lazima nikuwe accepted ni nini. Because men accept fellow men, unapata. Rather ukiona man mwenye ako na tabia zinakaa ziko feminine, they tend to resist them. So in such a situation, manze, sikiza wanaume. Kuna bibi ndio wanaume wana act. Mbona unapata mwanaume hata provide. Unasema but my wife anani I'm sorry, haiwaki hivyo. Ama halid ako tu sijui aje. Unaona, ako over emotional, ako feminine. But pia kuna ile yenye wanaume maybe wanakupea some toxic things ama si must. But maybe friends wako wameweka ni a must tukue hivi, unapata. Because there are different kinds of males. Of course kuna kama alpha male, kuna beta male na kuna the sigma. Alpha ni wenye akikohoa unaitika, unapata. They want to control everything. They are the alpha, unaona. Beta ni wenye it's okay, 50-50 nini. Hapo kuna sigma whereby au ni more ako katikati. Kuna places tuna apply tunasikiza, kwa pesa pia ana control. So ukipata beta amekwa na alpha, advice inakuwa. But for me there's always a balance. When look overdo hadi inakuwa si must. So I think tumeongelea a lot about toxic masculinity. Maybe you can also comment down below what you think. Vitu umepitia if you have had toxic men around you, maybe a boyfriend, maybe a brother, comment down below your story.
Maybe a friend.
Maybe a friend, maybe a father, I don't know. You can share. Yes, and that was it folks for this week. Yes, I've been your host Mackenzie. Until next time.